Hey everybody, Gameplay 4885 here. Welcome to a little guide I have on Borderlands 2. Yes, I've been very busy with this game. Anyway, this episode I'm going to talk about a sniper build I'm using for my level 72 0. Now, this build is very customizable and can work on level 50, 61, 72, and overpower level 8. And anywhere between. Or underneath those, I suppose. You just gotta take away 22 if you only have level 50, or 11 if you only have 61 skill points, for example. Also, this build is easily customizable, so you can switch it up if you feel like it, or if there is some gear I'm using that you can't simply get access to. Anyway, let's start with the skill trees. First off, well, I suppose I should first go over the class mod I'm using. I'm using the Legendary Sniper class mod, which is attainable only if you have Ultimate Vault Hunter Pack 2. And to get these, they seem to have a very high rate of spawning from chubby enemies, which are very rare, badass enemies that spawn. Lagging a little bit now, so yeah. Anyway, this is giving me a bunch of points we're going to talk about now when I'm going over the skill trees. So, obviously, you're going to start with sniping. So first off, in sniping, we have Headshot, which is a no-brainer, increases critical hit damage. Because my class mod, I get 10 points, which gives me 40%, so that's pretty sweet. That's kind of a no-brainer. I'm skipping optics because my zoom is just fine, and the steadiness is fixed by another type of gear that I'm going to show when I'm going over the gear, so I completely skip this. Then we have precision and killer. I'm putting 1 point in precision because I do have my legendary sniper class mod, which gives me 5 bonus points. So I also have a bunch of extra skill points when I've spec'd into everything I really want, and I easily can, put off 1 skill point for 30% increased accuracy. This is really just not really too necessary at all. I just have it because class mods, yay. Then there is the killer skill, kill skill. Killing an enemy gives you a bonus critical hit damage and reload speed. Only with 5 points, I get 50% crit damage and 75% reload speed. This is extremely useful and obviously buffs your damage by quite a lot. So that's also kind of a no-brainer. Then there is these skills right here. First, we have 1 shot, 1 kill. The first shot fired from a fully loaded magazine causes bonus damage. Up to, and with 10 points, that gives me 120% gun damage. That means that when I have a fully loaded magazine, then, I'm going to do 20% more damage with that. So that's pretty cool. Bore, that's kind of a fairly basic one as well. Shots pierce through enemies, so if there's enemies behind the original target you shot, they will take 100%. The damage of the shots will be increased by 100% for every enemy it penetrates. However, this will not work like penetrating a bull loader's shield or a nomad enemy's shields if you hit the shield instead of the nomad. It will still be possible to penetrate and pierce enemies behind them, but still it's pretty cool. Additionally, while you're in deception, it will highlight the crit spots of enemies if they have one, so you might as well pick it up. Velocity is kind of a skill that you can skip. Its biggest buff is the bullet speed bonus. With 10 points, it gives 200% bullet speed, 30% crit damage, and 20% gun damage. The overall stats are fairly good with this, but it's also something I suppose you could possibly skip. Then there is Kill Confirmed, which increases critical hit damage as you aim down the sight, up to 80% crit damage with 10 points. Again, this is kind of a basic one. Then there is At One with the Gun. This is an optional one, but I'm definitely going to skip this for basic reasons. The build I'm going for gives me 2 guns that I'm going to have equipped most of the time that easily allows me to get a second win if I do go down. This is mostly useful for getting yourself a second win. A one with a gun basically greatly improves your accuracy with sniper rifles when shooting from the hip. Also increases your reload speed and magazine size with sniper rifles. Increases hip shot accuracy by 25%. Increases sniper reload speed by 10% and sniper magazine size by 1 for each point put into this. This is only useful if you're going down or if you're going for the no scope, no problem, badass rank challenges. But I don't really need this, so I completely skip this. Then there is Critical Ascension. Scoring a critical hit with a sniper rifle increases your damage and critical hit damage with sniper rifles. This effect can stack up to 999 times, stacks slowly decay if you haven't scored a critical hit in a while. Increases critical hit damage by 6% and gun damage by 5% per stack. This only affects sniper rifles and only works with sniper rifles. This is a very handy skill, as after a few stacks you do gain a lot of damage, but the stacks do decay if you don't score a critical hit. So that was sniping. You basically want to focus on everything that increases your damage while also taking some accuracy, I guess, if you are planning, if you have the legendary sniper class mod and you got some extra points to go away with. Optics, if you are going to use a sniper rifle that has a really bad zoom, I suppose you could spend some points in it, and also the aim steadiness can be useful, I guess. Then we have Cunning. In Cunning, you basically just want to take anything that increases your gun damage and overall buffs you up. In Tier 1, we have Fast Hands, which increases reload speed and weapon swap speed by put 5 points into that. It's 25% swap speed and 50% swap speed and 25% reload speed. The other skill is Counter Strike, which increases melee which makes it so every time you take damage, you have a chance of getting a massive melee damage buff. 50% damage per stack, which is about 550% at 11 stacks with the right class mod. I completely skipped this because as a sniper you obviously want to stay at a good distance and usually not close enough for the enemies to be able to melee you or you melee them. Then there is Fearless. While your shield is depleted, you gain increased gun damage and fire rate. The fire rate is 25% and the gun damage is 15%. This is sort of just a nice little skill that's useful for when your shield does go down, as the shield I am using has a very low capacity. Then there is Ambush. I really just needed some extra skill points to put into Cunning, and Ambush is as good a skill as any, in my opinion. Increases damage when attacking from behind or when attacking an enemy who is targeting someone other than you. Note that it says attacking, and it says damage. This is not only main melee damage, but it also means gun damage and other kinds of damage, I'm guessing. Either way, it's a good skill. Then there is Rising Shots. For each successful ranged or melee attack gives you a damage bonus for a short time. This bonus can stack up to 5 times. Faster weapons can gain stacks more quickly, but slower weapons retain stacks for a longer period of time. This means that at 5 stacks, I'm going to get 50% gun damage increase, which is very, very, very good and useful, and 45% melee damage increase, which is not too interesting for me as I am going sniper. This is a fairly no-brainer, I suppose. Then there's Death Mark. Dealing melee damage marks the target for a short duration. Marked targets take additional damage from all sources. Also, it's not an easy thing to live with. Marked targets take 20% additional damage from all sources. Marks last for 8 seconds. This is a fairly useful skill with a final skill, Death Blossom, which I'll talk about in a minute. Then there is Unforeseen. I've skipped this one because I don't really see this as too much of a point. Your holographic decoy explodes when you become visible again, causing shock damage to nearby enemies. This basically means that when you use Deception, I have turned off the sound so you can actually hear my voice a little bit better. If I had that skill, the Deception decoy would explode in a shock in a shock blast, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. That is kind of useful sometimes, but again, with Sniper, you don't want enemies to be too close to you. So I've skipped that. Then there is Innervate. While Deception is active, you gain increased gun damage, health regeneration, and movement speed. All of these stats are overall fairly good. I gain 10% gun damage, 4.0% health regeneration per second of my maximum health, and 35% movement speed. This allows me to reposition effectively. I gain more health, I gain more increased gun damage, and I also gain some health regeneration, so if my health is a little bit low, I can simply use this. The movement speed is also useful if I'm going from area to area. Then there is Two Fang. Every time you fire a gun, you have a chance to fire twice. I've skipped this skill for a basic reason. This is a horrible skill for sniping. When you're sniping, you obviously want to focus on using, your freaking accuracy. However, that is very difficult when you suddenly start shooting a second shot instantly, which can definitely put you off aim and waste another bullet. This is useful if you're using something else than sniper rifles, I suppose, but if you're so then you might as well take it if you feel like it, but I'm simply skipping it. Finally, we have Death Blossom. Action skill augments. Pressing F, in my case, while Deception is active, to throw a handful of kunai. Each kunai will explode with a random elemental type. Kunai do not benefit from the Deception damage bonus, but throwing kunai does not end Deception and can apply Death Mark. This means that every time I go into Deception, I can throw a set of kunai, about 4 each time, up to 5 times, each exploding in a random elemental nova. This can go including with Slag, and it also applies Death Mark. This is exceptionally useful for dealing a heavy amount of damage to a single target and simply marking enemies for Death Mark. Then we have Bloodshed. These are just 12 extra skill points I didn't really know what to spend on, so I just picked it here, so at least I get something. This skill tree focuses mostly on melee though. In tier 1 we have Killing Blow, which massively increases melee damage against enemies with low health, 100% for each point into it. Again, melee is not something you really need or want with Sniper 0. Iron Hand increases melee damage and maximum health by, in my case, 15%. Well, it's extra health. It's definitely a lot better than Killing Blow, I guess. Grim, killing an enemy causes your shields to quickly regenerate and increases your action skill cooldown rate for a few seconds. This at least allows me to keep my shield up and running, as the shield I am using, which is the B shield, has a long recharge delay. Finally, there is Follow Through. Killing an enemy increases your movement speed, melee damage, and gun damage for a few seconds. In my case, with 2 points, it is 12% gun damage, 16% movement speed, and 16% melee damage. This is overall a pretty amazing skill, in my opinion. As I said though, all these skills are absolutely not ever required. You can pick any of these skills in Cunning, but with Sniper 0, you obviously want to focus on sniping. I think I wasted enough of your time on this skill tree right here, on these skill trees. I don't think I should need to explain Zero's action skill, but I guess I can go over it. Action skill, Deception. It become invisible and send out a decoy for up to 6 seconds, I think it is. As the time goes, you gain increased melee damage, gun damage, and gun critical hit damage up to 650 melee damage, 200% gun damage, and 250% gun critical hit damage. Excellent for repositioning and dealing a heavy amount of damage to a single target. Now let's finally go over my gear. For my sniper rifle, I prefer to use the Hawkeye. The Hawkeye is a Seraph sniper rifle manufactured by Jacobs that is obtained in Sir Hamlock's Big Game Hunt DLC. It is usually obtained as a rare drop from the raid boss of this DLC, which is called Veracitus the Invincible. The Hawkeye has 50% reduced base damage compared to other sniper rifles, but has a ridiculously high critical hit damage, meaning that a body shot makes the gun the weakest in the game, but a headshot will be excellent for one-shot, one kills. The Unkempt Herald, the double penetrating Unkempt Herald, is one of the most overpowered guns at the moment. In the future, maybe they will patch this, maybe they won't, I don't know, but again, all this can be switched out as you please. This is mostly just to deal with enemies that are a bit too evasive for me to actually land a critical hit with, or just to get myself a second win without having to use rockets. The Grog Nozzle is mainly just there for to slag enemies and to heal me up, as it does give me a 65% heal effect for arrow damage I do while I hold it in my hands. It is obtained only in Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep DLC, however, and it is a mission item. Finally, we have the Norfleet. This is just to get me an easy second win when I go down, and my Unkempt Herald is not enough to get me up. Any rocket launcher can do, but I just like the Norfleet. Then there's my other gear. I've already mentioned the legendary sniper class mod, and then there is the B shield. The B shield is the legendary amp shield of the game. It has a ridiculously high amount of amp damage, but unlike other amp shields, it has a no amp shot drain, which means that I can constantly gain that 686,000 bonus amp damage to all my shots as long as the shield is up. This is very overpowered, if you couldn't tell. However, the recharge delay and the shield capacity together adds for a very weak shield, turning you into a glass cannon. Then, for my grenade mod, you can really just go with whatever you feel. I personally like the Magic Missile, which is another grenade mod from Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which sends out up to 4 balls of slag that home in and slag enemies it hits. Finally, for my Relic, I'm using an Allegiance Relic for Jacobs that decreases Jacobs' recoil and improves my Jacobs' accuracy recovery. One of the biggest complaints I have about Jacobs sniper rifles, including the Hawkeye, is the fact, let me just show you here. Yeah, let's just put that on. So, here you can see, okay, a little to no show, okay? Fire once. It doesn't seem to really... Well, I could probably show better in combat. It basically makes me just a lot more accurate when I'm using this kind of relic, which is what I'm feeling comfortable with. However, if you can manage, you can obviously switch all of this out. The legendary sniper class mod can be easily switched out with a with a blue or purple sniper class mod, or the legendary hunter class mod, if you feel like it. Now that I finally have explained all my gear and my skill points, I guess I should probably show you some gameplay. I'm here in Lynchwood at the moment, and I'm just going to buy some sniper rifle ammo to be able to show you. I do hope I will be able to show you, but I'm not entirely certain, as I do have some lag right now, if you couldn't tell. Which definitely is going to be a little bit of a problem. Anyway, let's get to it. So, we're here in Lynchwood, and there's an ultimate badass over here. I'm going to use a deception because I don't think I can actually kill the bastard. And that is 35 million damage on a single shot. That is pretty impressive in my opinion. This is level 72, by the way, so everything is like in the millions by now. And as you can see, I am lagging, but I am managing to one-shot these enemies without too much trouble, even without getting that 120% bonus gun damage from one shot, one kill. I think that's what it was called. It's basically the relic basically allows me. Oh my god. Yeah, that is the problem. There you see me failing quite a lot, and I'm failing more. Okay, I'm a horrible shot right now. I'm not gonna lie. You're probably laughing your asses off. Okay, I'm just gonna give up on that guy. You live because I suck. Yeah, I'm gonna blame lag. Anyway, this sniper rifle alone is extremely powerful. It allows me to get easy one-shot, one kills against these enemies and stuff like that. I'm just gonna stop the video right here, and you're gonna die. There. My embarrassment has not been stopped, however. Anyway, this is a very solid build for me, at least. Other good sniper rifles would probably be a blue or purple Jacob sniper rifle. The legendary Vladov sniper rifle, the Lyuda, is also a great choice. And yeah, you can just experiment with whatever you want. All of this gear can be completely switched out, though I do definitely recommend that you may try out with a B if you're planning on going sniper. Everything can be switched out as you please. Anyway, this was my probably very long video. Probably been like 30 minutes already. So I'm just gonna stop it here. If you have any things you want to add to, well, that's what the comments are for. Bye.